Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome back to CaseyBuilds Live. We have a fun set to do today. I'm excited to do it. I actually haven't done this one before. So, in honor of the SpaceX launch earlier today, my friend Jacob actually had a great idea that I should do something to go along with that. So, we're going to do a space set. And one of the cooler sets that I have not yet built is the International Space Station set. Oh, why am I on that camera? Let's switch over. Boom. International Space Station set. This is one of the ideas sets. And I know I've spoken before about how much I love the ideas sets. They're just such great ones that are created by... not by Lego themselves, but by the community, and then people vote on them. And anyway, they're usually really interesting sets. This one does not disappoint in that regard. And one of the things that I am super excited about is you may note that there's a lot of detail on some of these things that look like they could possibly be stickers, but I'm under the impression that they are all printed on and that this is a 0 sticker set, which, as you guys know, is the thing that I hate the most. So I am super excited, and so let's just go ahead and start building. One of the fun things with the new set, back, can't be on that camera anymore. There we go. One of the things with the new set, it's always getting to cut open the box carefully so as not to damage the box. You know, lots of serious Lego folk have different ways of doing this. I just cut it with a pair of scissors. There we go. I just cut the tape. Some people try to peel the tape off, which never works for me at all. I don't know, there seem to be lots of different, not a lot, a few different ways people do this. I just cut the tape. Alright. Fresh new box. Actually, it seemed to work so well last time having the off-screen sorting that Lex is very generously offered to go ahead and do that once again. So let me grab bag 1, and we'll just go ahead and pour all the rest like so. Okay. That is a tiny bag 1. So that'll be exciting for her to try to get 2 done by the time we need it. So there's all sorts of pages at the beginning of the instruction manual here with information. The idea sets usually do this. Whatever the set is about, they have lots of extra information about it and the person who created it. And then they have it in probably 6 or 7 different languages. Some of them I'm very interested in, and some of them, meh. I went ahead and read up on some of it earlier today. Apparently this guy started designing the set in 2014. And over the course of 3 years he kept iterating on it. And that's how long it took him to come up with the set. And in that time span he decided to start calling himself an expert on the International Space Station. Since he's done tons and tons of research, apparently. So, which I would assume you would have to do in a case like this.
Unless you're a jerk.
So I can't remember what they call these. They're basically mini figs. They are built to go over one stud. And if you look at it, these ones are cute. We got little astronaut-y folk. So this step only calls for 2 of them. And they gave us 3. So let's just set those aside. We might have somebody might get to be a stowaway on our voyage here. Yeah, this bag 1 is going to be fast.
2 will be fast too.
Okay. So unfortunately today I made a mistake, and I thought the launch was at 1:30, and so by the time I went to go investigate, it was very much over. So I missed it, but looks like everything was successful. So that's great news. Oops. Doing a little bit of other research. Apparently, the International Space Station orbits the Earth 16 times a day. Which I didn't realize it moved that fast, I guess, relatively speaking. But yeah. Cute. Make a little bitty satellite here. Oops. I should be setting my pieces out ahead of time. Make sure I don't miss any. There we go. Yeah, at first I was thinking I was going to do a Star Wars set today. I was thinking about doing the Porg, because that's a pretty reasonably sized one. But then, yeah, Jacob texted me and pointed out how perfectly aligned this would be with the launch. So, seemed like a great idea to me. Thank you, Jacob, for such a great idea. There's actually, at this point, I've got quite a few space sets. Saturn V rocket is actually pretty impressive. But it is a larger set, so that one would take a while to get through. That was actually also an idea set. Actually. And then I think it was last year. I think it was last year. The Lego City system came out with a whole bunch of space-themed sets that were meant to coincide with 40 years or 50 the 50th anniversary of going to the moon. And so there were a bunch of those too, and I was looking at those, but this one seemed, I've been talking up the idea sets quite a bit, so it seemed like this was a really good one to go with today. Death Star. Bo James, I promise you, we will get to the Death Star one of these days. I don't know if the Death Star necessarily matches the spirit of International Space Station. But we do aim to please here at CaseyBuilds, and I very much would love to be able to give you a Death Star build soon. Yeah, the Death Star is one of the massive sets the one I can see over my shoulder here. I actually have a couple of Death Stars, and I'll explain why. But the one I see over my left shoulder here is 4,016 pieces. So that's about on the same scale as that Disney castle was from last weekend, pieces wise. It was also a little over 4,000 pieces. So when we do the Death Star, agree to disagree. Yeah. When we do the Death Star, it'll be another multi-part, probably 3-parter over the weekend, kind of a thing.
You can try to beat your record. Last night it took you 14 hours.
I haven't built the Death Star.
Oh, I've seen you running something.
Yeah.
How many does the Falcon set have?
I don't remember more than that.
It's the biggest set, right?
I think so. Okay. Oh, we have the whole Cleary family watching right now. That's so exciting. Hello, Clearys. Each of you has to build it as fast as you can. We get to split screen view, both of you working on it. That would ruin the joy and the zen of building Lego. But that reminds me to go back and talk about why I have two. So, Lego frequently will re-release old sets with little tweaks and upgrades, and I was complaining about this competitive Lego building. Bo James, there's actually one of the frequent viewers here who loves building that we've been discussing doing a each of us building a set. We had not intended to make it competitive, but simply do it simultaneously, and we need to test to see if we can figure out a way to get both streams into my computer so I could stream them. So there might be a dueling sets coming out here in the future. So be sure to let everybody know when that happens. But yes, I have two Death Stars because the short answer is they re-released it, and it was one of the sets when it had first come out. Was earlier on, after I started kind of making the actual commitment to thinking, okay, well, I'm going to collect all these things. And earlier, I got a few sets here and there, and basically I was very choosy with which Star Wars set I would want, and I did not have the arsenal that I have now. And so the Death Star had come out for a long time, and because I was being... Oh, wow, that's the end of bag one already. Well,
Those extras.
lots of extra little bits. Thank you. Thank you. Drew Breeze would want it to be competitive.
Who doesn't love Drew Brees?
You're being a little unfair there with your trying to get Lex on your side. So it didn't tell me to put these together yet.
Mine forever.
But we got a couple of little satellites. It looks like we got a little landing pod thing. I don't know. And a very adorable little space shuttle. little micro build. So that works well.
Oh man, remember micro machines?
Yes. We have a lot of micro machines in the garage. What was I talking about? I was talking about
Why you have
Death Star. So, I'm not terribly interested in playing with the Lego sets once I have built them. Like as if it were a dollhouse, right? I like to build a set, and originally when I started getting these things, it was mostly just to build them as models and have them out. So I really was picking specifically the ones that looked really cool. And to me, the Death Star, it's got a lot going on, but it doesn't look like a cool finished model. It looks more like a dollhouse, which is why I think it would actually be a fun build to do here, because as you're going along, there's lots of rooms with scenes from the movies, and so there's a lot interesting going on in it. But as far as a finished looking model build, it's got a lot of openings, and it doesn't look like a Death Star. And I realized that the Death Star itself, if you were to build it, would just be a big sphere, and that'd be probably kind of boring to look at. But because of that, I was hemming and hawing about getting the Death Star for a while. Oh, I have all of my pieces organized like this, because Lex actually sorts them out for me ahead of time, and when you're following the directions, it's much easier to be able to see the pieces that you need and grab them once they've been sorted. So, following along the directions, it helps me go a little bit quicker and makes things a little bit less boring for people who are watching, and so they don't have to watch me hunt for the pieces. So, but yeah, the Death Star never really interested me for those reasons. But then I started getting more and more sets, and I got to a point where I started feeling more compelled just to collect them all, just for the sake of collecting. And as I did that, I started building more of them, and I certainly have more boxes that are not yet opened than I'd like to admit. But point is for the original issue Death Star, it had been out for so long that it was hard to find. When I got to the point of thinking, you know what, I really should get that, I want it. And I was having a hard time finding it, and then one day it popped up in the Valley Fair Lego store, and I was super stoked, and there was one box out on the shelf which was dinged, and so I went to the worker folk and asked them, hey, do you happen to have any of these in the back that maybe don't have a scuff on the corner? Because when I pick out my Lego boxes, I like them to be all perfect, because I try to keep them as nice as possible. And yes, until COVID ruined it. Now I have to order them all online. But they said, well, I can do you one better. I've got one of these in the box that's in the back that is still in the box that they ship them to us in, which technically we're not supposed to put out or sell this way, but you come in here so much. If you want a unopened cardboard box of the thing, I can go grab that for you. And at that point I realized there was no way I could say no, and so I've got one, an old one in the original cardboard, and then I have this newer one, which was the reissue. So yeah. If you could be Lego King for the day, what Star Wars set would you create? Wow, everybody's so chatty today. I need to keep up on my chat here. What's everybody talking about? Lex Source, yes, that's awesome. OCD. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the OCD talk for Jeff and Anna, but it is very important. It is. Yeah, Lex does an awesome job setting everything out for me. And actually, that's one of the ways that I enjoy when my dad comes to visit. We like building sets together. We like doing the Technic sets, and he does the same for me because he likes seeing all of the workings of everything. So it's fun to see. Basically, like when I was doing this, when I was doing the live stream of the Porsche build, it's fun to see all the gears and everything and see how it all works. So he sorts for me as I build, and then we watch it as we go. But back to Jeff's question, which is a great question. Lego King for the day, what Star Wars set would I create? When I was watching... Basically, when watching the Star Wars movies that come out now, that is one of the things that I'm constantly thinking about while I watch the movie is... look at all these cool things in the movie. I want to build them. And so I get really excited when the things that I want to build actually pop up as Lego sets. And I think one of the last things that I remember thinking about when I was watching them was Snoke's ship, which was this really cool, wide, almost boomerang-y looking ship. And I feel like that would be a really cool... You could do one of the bigger sets here, the Ultimate Collector series, which has more detail, and it's less about having something fun that you could pick up and zoom around and pretend like you're playing with, but having a model that's sitting there on the shelf. And I think Snoke's ship would be really cool for that. But oh yeah, that would be fun too. Yeah. Other than Snoke's ship, I do really like every once in a while when they come out with sets that are... So, my favorite are the models where you're creating ships. Those to me are the best ones. But I also really like the ones where they are kind of building a scene. And they have a bunch of smaller ones for those sorts of things. Like for example, you have the Death Star cannon and Obi-Wan coming to disable that. Or, scenes like that. There's actually a larger set of the Assault on Hoth, which is pretty cool. We actually have the Ewok village built and out right now. So not so much a model, but actually more of a scene. And yeah, I think Lex's idea about the Kylo and Rey fight would be really cool. I think a scene for the salt planet crate with all the red salt and the ships flying through it would be a really neat scene to build, which, at the risk of giving a little bit of a spoiler, if you watch the Lego Masters TV show, they might do a little bit of that in there too. So, oh, Mandalorian ship. Razor Crest. That's actually a set that is going to be coming out, I want to say in August. So yeah, the Mandalorian set is on its way. I actually already have mine pre-ordered. And MD Cordy, welcome to the stream. We currently have some little micro-y things, and we're working on what appears to be the base for the space station. Now I realize this might sound crazy with all of the Star Wars love that I have in the sets, but I would love Lego to make an Enterprise from Star Trek. If I was Lego King for a day, that might be that would be way up on the list of things that I would love Lego to come out with. Is a proper Starship Enterprise. I have a Mega Blocks set, which is terrible, and it was a really big set, and I got it because I also really like Star Trek. The Mandalorian set, I don't know if it comes with the child or not, but there's the Lego, they call them brick heads, these sorts of sets, and wrong camera, these sorts of sets, and they're coming out with a Mandalorian and child brick heads combo, which is going to be out soon. Sidewinder, I was going to get to that. That was the next thing I was going to say. And also, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I think the Enterprise is probably my number 2 most wanted set. My number 1 most wanted set that I've actually put a lot of thought into wanting before is exactly what Sidewinder said. I think if they made a Terran siege tank from StarCraft and made it a Technic set with like outriggers that could actually deploy and a rotating turret on the top, I think you could do a massive Technic set like on the same scale as like the Lego Porsche. And I think that would be just about one of the absolute coolest sets to build and coolest looking things. So that's my number 1 desire. So we've covered actually 3 different things that I would like. So number 1 is the Terran siege tank. Number 2 most wanted thing is an Enterprise. And then number 3 is Snoke's ship. So maybe if we get enough views on these things, the Lego execs will start watching and listening to my fantastic ideas. Create a better world. Build a better world. Oh. Lego pun.
Champagne slumming?
So Sidewinder, how are things down south? Let's see. This is supposed to fit in here. Kind of a tricky. There we go. There. Another one of the things that I had mentioned once before, when I was working on the ship in a bottle set, was one of the things that you could very easily ignore with these sorts of sets is the bases that you build to display these things in. Because when you think about building a space station, you think about the space station itself, but you couldn't just set that on a table because it's going to be all wobbly. So one of the things that I always, it's not super exciting, but I pay attention to are these bases that we build to support these things. And obviously across the top, they're always going to need to be custom leveled to fit exactly where they need to be on the model that you build. But the bases they're always similar, but also every single one of them is different. And so it's just one of the variety things that I like paying attention to when building these sets. So. Goodbye, Clary family. Thank you for showing up for as long as you have. nice. We're covering up the little bits here to make it nice. All right, looks like we are done with bag number 2. Swap that out. Oh. Yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not. I know we're already a half an hour in at this point. But this is definitely not going to be a multi-part build. This will be a easy hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. So
You're so lucky.
slightly smaller build today. Whoops, lost my thing there. Lex just pointed out that there are in fact no stickers, and all of the solar panels are printed on. So this might be the greatest thing that Lego has ever done at this point. One can only hope that they continue to make these sorts of decisions. There's actually so at work we have all sorts of communication channels, and one of the things we have is a most of us are talking via Slack, and in Slack there's a company-wide Lego chat group that naturally I'm a part of, and so are some of the other people here on this chat, or that are typing in the stream here. Anyway, point being, one of the very last things that somebody had asked a question about yesterday was sort of asking people about how they felt about stickers in their Lego sets, and how they assumed the absolute Lego purists would not want to apply the stickers because then it completely... Wait a minute. Off by 1. Oh, that's why. Once you have the sticker on the piece, then that is what that one piece is meant to be, is that stickered thing. And so there's a lot of people who, when they're building these, if it calls for a sticker, they don't even put one on, which I've only done for a few sets, and that was because I think it looks better without the sticker, and not just because I hate putting stickers on, but because I think it looks better without it. The Voltron set was one of the ones that I left stickers off of because they were unnecessary. But it was some sort of validation seeing that that question asked in the chat, just to see what other Lego enthusiasts felt about stickers. So stickers are the worst. Man, these pieces are all set out so nicely. They're camera ready. I think we might be building the main spine of the space station here. The printed piece is still only that piece. That is true.
It's not like you take your ink and there's something else in it.
Some people do.
I know, they're weird. I don't like it.
And a tab is for space. Yeah. A tab should be the width of 4 spaces, but it should remain a tab. You shouldn't actually turn tabs into 4 spaces, 'cause that's what barbarians do. I can only assume that's what you mean, MD Cordy. Yeah, I think this is going to be this the main spine of the space station. Maybe. We'll see. Oh no. Cordy, let's hope that neither one of us ever has to work with the other one's code. Because I wouldn't want you to have to feel ashamed for doing it wrong. Oh, I almost skipped a step. Trying to not act like I'm totally flustered about spaces versus tabs, which is probably way too nerdy a concept to be talking here for everybody else that might be watching. Where does that go? Like so. Yeah, this is a pretty, getting to feel pretty solid. Still a little flimsy in the middle, but everything else is all nice and tight on there. It's good. All of those. And we're gonna need all of those. So is anybody else out there building right now? Figured these could be proper communal events where people are building something else along at home. If you needed a reason to have some dedicated build time. Not that I've ever felt I needed a reason to have dedicated build time, but not everybody thinks the same. Some people think you should use spaces instead of tabs. I feel like I should explain that now for those of you out there that don't understand what I'm talking about. So when you're writing code, something that never actually matters, but matters in the sense that the computer doesn't care at all, but white space. So when you're hitting either space or return or tab or everything that's not actually the code itself is the white space. And having white space is important to keep your code organized and readable. And there's lots of different methods to do that. Actually, there is one programming language where white space matters, which is one of the reasons why I don't like that one, but we're not even going to go there. Point is some people, when you are indenting your code, use a tab to indent the code, and so when you're going through, you have one tab that moves everything over, and some people hit the space bar, or have tab automatically turn into 4 spaces, and so you have all of these. Instead of having one tab over, you have 4 spaces over, and to try to remain as unbiased as possible, some people everybody has lots of opinions on the matter. Some people think that spaces are the right way to do it. Some people think that tabs are the right way to do it. Oh. Building alcohol tolerance and building layered desserts both count. We're all building. I like it. Anyway, some people prefer spaces, some people prefer tabs. It's a pretty hot topic. It's probably one of the things that you could come close to calling a religious debate for coders that you could possibly ever come to. Like we're talking practically fired up enough about it to go on a crusade. So
those always turned out well.
yeah, everybody knows crusades are the best for everyone. So okay. Sidewinder, what kind of alcohol are we working with today? Good man, Sidewinder. I knew we were friends. I'm also interested in the layered dessert. I would like to know information about the layered dessert as well as the alcohol. I'm just going to keep building along. Kind of have this tube here. Not sure what the colors are going to mean at this point. Champagne and IPA. That is a interesting combination. I'm glad you specified not side by side. Although, you could kind of you could do a I know sometimes when people say beer mosa, they mean making a mosa with beer instead of champagne. But what if you made it a beer mosa, where you were making it a mimosa but with beer instead of orange juice? Just gonna throw that out there. Maybe after you've had enough, you'll be interested in researching that. These, and that's probably the last. Let's see here. Yeah, some extra. Okay. Lex is so on top of our new trays. That's great. Thank you. How's Kevin doing? Okay, this is interesting. So we just got some flavor here. He's gonna be tricky to get in. So there's this trench shaft thing, and these are supposed to go in and snap in. This would be a time where it'd be helpful to have not such large fingers, but actually that works out just fine. Oh! Black and Tail Champagne, Guinness and Champagne. Using the new mixer, about everything that everyone's talking about right now sounds delicious and wonderful. That's great. Okay, so those ended up in there okay. I am not an expert on the International Space Station, but I can only assume that this looks pretty close to the main drag. A napping Kevin is a happy Kevin. That's good.
Yay, Kevin.
I've actually taken fewer naps during this shelter in place than I thought I would. Turns out my desire to do everything even includes all of the things that I want to do when I'm at home. Surface of the table, it's actually just, I mean, it's a pleathery, it's just a standard cheap card table. I don't know what it is. It's you've had too much beer and champagne, sir. But I'll take the compliment. Okay. Oh, look at that. Not only do we have printed on solar panels, but we have printed... Oh. Well, these are the... Okay, normally they use these to be soda can tops.
What are these?
Well, they're still printed as soda can tops. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be yet. I'll hold it up for the camera in a moment. Once I get them aligned correctly. Yeah, Sidewinder. I've actually been thinking about having a better table for building on up here for doing these.
Well, you'll have your own table.
That's a long way away. So, this is the soda can top. As you can tell, it really is a soda can top. I'm guessing that is meant to be maybe a docking door or something.
Like a hatch?
Yeah, a hatch. That's the word I'm looking for. Or this is just how these pieces come. No, that's not true because there's silver ones without them printed on. It must be a hatch. Must be a hatch. Yeah, sorry, Sidewinder. My exquisiteness at the moment is limited to simply having a Lego studio. That is the extent of how exquisite this space is. Okay, so those little things are actually not even visible yet.
See that? Like it looks bad. And it doesn't.
Oh, Sidewinder. Yeah. We can discuss. That sounds awesome. His dad could make a custom leather top.
Ooh, fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would say no to that?
Let's see how this is supposed to line up. Like so. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what I'm building here.
We got a lot of fiddly bits coming.
Oh, great.
Sorry about it.
Alright, I'd like to be able to point out to you guys what spot I'm working on here. I think once we flip another page or two, hopefully we'll be able to put enough of this together and on that we'll be able to see what part it actually is. So, fingers crossed on that. And another printed on piece. So much better. So that also has a kind of a hatchy look to it. That one looks way more like a hatch than the soda can top did. I think the soda can top was just incidental. Everybody loves custom leather accessories. Again, we're putting a lot of stuff together here that I can only assume is accurate, true to the original actual International Space Station here, since, I mean, that's obviously the purpose, or the whole point of this. But building this is making me wish I had better knowledge of what it actually looked like. These are funny little pieces on this step 35 here. I've seen these used for lots of different things. Set some of these aside. Let me try to put one on so I can hold it up and show you what I'm looking at here. It's supposed to be like that. So if you look at this guy on that I just put on the end of him right there, it looks like either a little car or a little train. I've seen it used for both of those. And on one end it has a little tab, and on the other end it's flat. I'm not sure officially what that is. But they use them for all sorts of things. I've seen them all over different sorts of builds to be either small vehicles, but like in this case, I don't even know what this is going to end up being for. It looks like it's just some extra detail on the end of whatever this cylinder is. I don't know.
Maybe it's the robot arm they use to work on stuff outside.
Could be the robot arm they use to work on stuff outside. That is entirely possible. Okay, this needs to go this way. This needs to come in here and connect to that. There we go. Imagine we're going to build another one of those. It's basically a mirror. Oh, nope. It's already different. Let's see what it ends up being. If you guys couldn't hear her. Minifig roller skate. Yep, that's absolutely another use case. That's perfect. Lex let me know that the next tray has all sorts of fiddly little bits, which I don't really enjoy doing, but that's sort of important for one of these sorts of scale models.
Honestly, it kind of looks like you're not going to do bigger bits till the last bag.
Great. Okay, so now that does kind of have a army vibe, and this is supposed to connect to here. Okay, hopefully there'll be something that holds that a little bit tighter. But we're building it up. And as if they knew what I was going to say, we're already putting this on the other side to hold it into place a little bit better. It's like my prayers have been answered. There we go. Now that's nice and secure on there. Very good. It's like Lego knows how to build this stuff. Actually, this was the Lego Ideas set, so it's somebody out there has made enough Lego to know how to make these things not fall apart. Okay, so this right now is supposed to sit on there. And it actually doesn't just sit, it actually attaches. So one of the things with these sorts of models that they'll frequently do is it was similar with the Disney castle when we were layering the pieces on top. Instead of having a full sheet of all of the studs to stick stuff to, they'll make some flat areas where they'll just rest. And if it's meant to be something that easily detaches, they'll only use a few studs to keep it locked in place and to make sure it lines up correctly. But makes it easier to remove since there aren't as many studs holding it in place. So this one is doing that, and this gets to be held in place. And it's strong enough to hold it, but you can also very easily take it off and not pull extra pieces with it that you don't intend to. So there we go. Now I can see that my arm is not perfectly perpendicular. There we go. Now it is. Oops. Incidentally, I was trying to think about what I'm going to do tomorrow as well, and I'm going to let all of you chime in with what you would rather see. You have two choices. I can either do the Porg tomorrow, which is the one that I plan to do today. So this guy, cute little Star Wars fella. So we can either do a Porg tomorrow, or last week when I finished working on the Disney castle, I had mentioned that I have a lighting kit for it. Custom leather. So I have a custom lighting kit that good friend Michael got for me. Thank you, Michael. I want to make sure you get your proper shout out. It's not an official. It's not an official Lego thing, but it's made by a company called Brick Loot that does a lot of these set add-ons, particularly lighting sets. And they have them for things like the Disney Castle. They have them for the Porsche where the headlights all light up. And anyway, there's lots of different lighting sets. But he got me the one for the Disney Castle because he knew that one used to always be out of my place. And so that is one of the things I want to try. But the instructions are not as good as Lego instructions are. In fact, it's pictures saying, okay, now lift up here and kind of pull this wire through over here and don't push it too tight because if you pinch it, you'll break the wire. So they are not as robust as the normal Lego instructions are. So it could be a very, very interesting and interesting. It could be a very interesting build. Let's just call it that. And I don't think it'll be too long. There's not too much to it. It's just more of a... There's not a lot of scale to it, but the fact that I've never done it before, it could just be a... Could be a bit of a flop. I could be terrible. It could be confusing, or it could be glorious. So I'm not sure. Sidewinder votes. Custom lighting. Okay. Well, there's actually already fireworks on the Disney Castle, but maybe we can actually fire them off. Maybe I'll find a way to make sure we don't lose the pieces when we do that. So that's one vote for custom lighting. So we'll either do custom lighting or Porg. And currently custom lighting is in the lead with one vote. There's no wrong answer here. How does that line up? Okay. That looks to be like that. Okay, one thing that you might have noticed was there was one of these rods going through the middle here, and one thing that does is in addition to having this piece, which actually the studs fit into the side, having the rod go through, the rod actually gives it a lot of structural rigidity, and will hold all of this together. Now I can actually try to bend it a little bit, and it doesn't come apart. So it gives it makes it real solid. Just having one of these, and they fit right through the middle of these guys, in addition to some other pieces. So that's one of the things they do for these kind of thinner, longer sorts of things. They use those to give them some strength. Lighting. Okay, that's 2 for lighting. And Sidewinder wants me to bore everyone with trying to create my own custom sets, which would surely not be as exciting as looking at an actual legit Lego build.
I mean, it would if you did all the math work and everything ahead of time and then built it like a set.
Lex suggested that I come up with a set plan ahead of time, and then follow my own plan, basically. That could work. We'll see. We'll see where we go. I feel like CaseyBuilds is still in its infancy. We need to give it some time to figure out what it wants to be when it grows up. Looks like we've got some radar dishes here. I do like the Casey Designs idea, though. Will I ever do a vintage build? That was something I know that you had asked for. I think the problem I have, and I'm hedging it this way. I think the problem I have with doing the vintage builds is I feel like they're not as interesting or complex as the newer ones. They're a lot more blocky, but that doesn't mean they're not fun. And so, yes, I could see me doing a vintage build. My old Technic sets are kind of small, so this would be a quick build. I need to look through and find a set that would really be good to do a vintage build. So I think I could do one of those. Just need to bite the bullet and design your own siege tank. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know if I have the chops to make my own siege tank. That seems like it would be a very difficult thing to design, and part of the reason why I want them to come up with one is so that I don't have to. I'll come up with the list of what we want from Blizzard to make ourselves and have them blow up on the internet so they have to make them. Yes, that's another great idea. But sure, live build with suggestions from the audience, that could be interesting. Just see where it all takes us.
It's gonna be a dick. It'll be a dick every time.
Nope. Okay, that little piece, I guess that's as long as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go in there. Okay. Yeah, we're getting some real interesting, dense little structures here. Okay, this one needs to connect over here somehow. I suppose that's the interesting thing with space stations, is that there's there's really no up. Without having gravity, you don't have to artificially designate one direction as anything. Actually, I suppose that's what you have to do. You have to artificially designate a direction. That's exactly what one would have to do. Be like, okay, well, I'm going up the chute. Well, anyway. Oldest vintage set. Oh, Pillar of Autumn from Halo. That would be really cool. That would be a cool set. I don't know about how long did your Saturn V take to build. Do I have... I actually keep track of how long it takes me to build certain sets. I think actually when I built the Saturn V, so normally when I'm building a set with my dad, I don't keep track of the time. And I think I built that one with him. I'm going to guess that was probably... Oh! Let's see here. How big was that set? Making me get up. Let's see here. Saturn V is 2,000 pieces. 2,000 pieces. That was probably about a 5-hour build, I think. There are not any Halo Lego sets. There are Halo Mega Bloks sets. And I can't tell you anything more about those because I couldn't bring myself. The Mega Block sets are so awful, and it was truly something, like when I saw the Enterprise, I got it knowing I was going to hate it, and I hated it. And that one, it was very special to try to make me get it, and it did, and I was still disappointed. Well, how do you connect now? Oh, no. Oh, I think I put that on upside down. I did. Okay. Let's fix that. There we go. Is that the right spot? That's the right spot. Okay. Oh, I did not answer. By the way, Christopher Bailey, welcome to the build. Thanks for joining us. Okay, you were asking about oldest vintage set. I don't know if I could tell you oldest vintage set out of all of them, but I can tell you my oldest Technic set. And I think I've gotten that one out here once before, but I had intended to, and I don't remember if I actually did. So this cute little fella right here, that is my oldest Technic set from 1984. 1984. Yep. I'll just leave that right over here. There were probably like eight different instructions to follow in that set. I can't tell you how many times I've built every single one of them. Alright, we got some kind of something coming off the edge of this thing over here. See what that turns into. Oh. Well, that is a new piece that I have never seen before. So this little guy, here, I'm gonna stick it on you. This little guy, minus the gold part, looks close to a similar piece where it has V's on either end with a hole through the middle, but I've never seen this piece before. So that's really exciting. I love seeing a new piece. Oh, that's funny. I actually did the right thing. That was supposed to be in there. Early to mid. Yeah, that set is, yes. Actually, that set's older than my wife and my brother. So if any of you are watching with kids at home, feel free to use that as a inspiration to keep your pieces in the boxes that they belong in with their instructions, so that you can get years and years and years of repeat build enjoyment out of them. And you don't need to follow the instructions whenever you build out of them, but just make sure that they end up back in the same place. That's the important part. Just keeping it all organized. Alright, this guy needs to go here. Like that. And then I have a couple more of these. I also loved the Saturn V. I had briefly considered doing that one here today, but I've been trying to do quicker builds and really save doing the multi-part ones for special occasions, just because I feel like it takes a lot more attention to get those. I forgive you, Sidewinder. Quality control. Who's this?
Probably your dad.
Picked a far less challenging set. This set was meant to be purely a celebration of the space exploration that's going on today. So yes, it is a slightly less challenging set than others that we've built. I don't remember.
Wasn't it like blown up?
Chris, maybe you can. Yeah, I mean, before tragedy, let me know what sorts of things were different in gravity. I don't actually remember. Again, I'm not intimately familiar enough with the space station to have noticed what the changes were that they made for the movie Gravity, which was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Okay. Oh, that's going to be Alex. Alex finally gave himself a new name. That's exciting. Well, don't worry. Even though there are less flags to be out of alignment, this one has all of these solar panels, which absolutely have the opportunity to be out of alignment. So, don't worry. There's plenty of opportunity for doing your quality control work. Oh, so Chris, you're talking about the space station after the 2-minute mark of the movie. Not like they modified it somehow before that. I think if I wanted to make that, all I'd have to do is just drop this off the roof of the house. Another real Lego question. Great. I love real Lego questions. How do they decide which extra bits they include? Because sometimes it seems like the extra pieces you end up with aren't even the types of pieces you might misplace. Yeah, I don't think the extra pieces... I don't know how they do this. I actually have never looked into it. My assumption is the extra pieces you get aren't necessarily ones that they think you're going to need because you might miss something. I think it's more of the machine that does the sorting and the bagging and everything. I think it maybe can pull out like 5 of these at a time. And if a bag only needs to have 3 of them, you're going to have 2 extra in it, because the extra pieces you usually get at the end are the smaller pieces. They're never the bigger pieces. And so I think it's more of a what can Lego mechanically sort consistently. That's my assumption. I have no idea if that's correct or not, but that's what I've told myself. Fair amount of experience. Yeah. You guys are pure chaos in the chat today. Yeah. Quality control. This, you know what? This build is both in honor of the SpaceX folks as well as those of you in the solar industry who may have also spent plenty of time with solar panels. There you go. Yeah, Michael does excel at dropping my builds. He only did it to one of them. Happy little accidents. Bo James, I will get you your Death Star. We will do that. That is one of the special builds, the aforementioned special occasion big builds that we are going to do. I promise we'll get to it. Okay. I think those are all close to being aligned all right. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to line them up right now because that's boring for everyone. And rest assured, I will make them all straight at the end of this. Okay, look at all those extra pieces. Yeah, so see, all the extra pieces we have are the smaller ones. And I assume it's Lego wants to make sure that you have them all. And as opposed to you might be missing some. So I think it's either they've given you the minimum number that they can safely sort, or that they don't know how many they've put in, and it might actually just err on the side of having extras. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And as you can see, we're just flying through the build right now. We're already up to bag 5, and there are 6 bags. So we're almost done. Although bag 6 does appear to be the biggest bag. And looking at this here, it seems like bag 6 is going to have a lot of solar panels. So,
Yep.
So that'll be fun. I will paint the other side of the fence when I'm not boring people who are watching me paint the fence. Also, small win, noticed that there's a 2x. Oh, I was mentioning this last time. Okay, so you'll note this one says 2x, and clearly in step 101 it says 1 2x6 piece. Whereas when I was building it yesterday, or the one last week that had a 2x on it, it was duplicating the number of pieces, telling you to get 2 of them to build 2 at a time. So in the last build, it would have said 2x on step 101, this one says 1x. So that is the discrepancy that I was talking about before. And I don't know. That's very unusual for LEGO to not be consistent, because everything in all of their sets is highly, highly structured and consistent.
Do you think that's because it's an idea set?
Could be because it's an idea set. It might differ from set type to set type. That's very possible. Maybe. Christopher Bailey. Yes. That actually started last weekend. I know you were unable to join us because of family issues. But yeah, last weekend we built the Disney Castle. And because it was such a huge build, 3 parts as it was, 4,000 pieces, in an attempt to keep things going quickly, Lex went ahead and sorted everything off screen so that we didn't have as much downtime, since we were already going to be pushing the boundaries of how much time we were taking to get it done. So as it is, I had not intended to have her sort today because it was a smaller build, and I didn't think we would need to keep things moving as quickly. But then when I mentioned that she didn't need to, she made a sad face, and I thought, well, it doesn't hurt if she wants to build them, so, or if she wants to sort them, so why not include everyone?
Well, considering how many little bits there are, it's probably better that they did.
Also, seeing her sorting trays here really is a thing of beauty. So.
Now you're just buttering me up.
What are people talking about? I need to.
I know your tricks, Mariachi.
So much chat. It's been hard for me to keep an eye on 2 places. It's clear that Joseph very understands the necessity of proper OC or builds however. Oh, where are the cookies? Yeah. I have the same question, Sidewinder.
You already ate them.
Yeah, she actually had to throw out a whole carton of eggs, which we'd bought at the store, in the hope that it would turn into cookies, and they never did. And I'm going to get a talking to once this is over. Chris Bailey, we are sad about what you needed to go through last weekend, but happy to have you back. Okay, well, there's a lot going on in this one. I can't even tell where they're supposed to go. Let's see. I can't even tell where these pieces are supposed to go. How is that possible? Oh, there they are. Okay. Over on this side. We need some icing over here. A little bit of detail work. Some greebling. And yes, I do have homemade ice cream. She made cookies and cream ice cream. And it was amazing. Enough for one more helping. I had the foresight to suggest that maybe we don't put the ice cream maker away in deep storage, and
Well, why do you think I didn't put it away after the last time?
and we leave it out. Well, because you had gotten enough last time to do it twice, and last time you had made it once, and so that's why. Anyway, point being is she takes very good care of me, and I have no complaints. aside from not having cookies?
You.
Is it mic thing? It's well. Okay, it seems like everybody's wishing that they could hear more of you. So yeah. She's not yelling so that you guys can hear her. She's yelling at me. So there's that's not really the issue. I did go to well, great lengths, not really great lengths. I mean, I went to the trouble of setting up a directional mic so that I would be as clear as possible without external sounds. Incidentally, I suppose that she qualifies as an external sound and is therefore getting largely filtered out. But your recommendation is noted, and we'll see what we can do about that. I'm honestly not sure how, but I'll look into it. I do acknowledge her as a very valid part of the show at this point. Uh-oh. Grabbed the wrong piece. Or did I? Nope. I did. Okay. Thank you, Sidewinder. That is lame instruction. Let's see, that looks like it's supposed to go down there. Sorry, I was doing that out of frame. It was hard for me to see what I was doing. Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll have a CaseyBuilds After Dark for you, Chris, one of these days. Texture. Lex is great with the texture. Incidentally, this other Chris is the one I have forgotten who was talking about doing competitive builds. That was probably Bo James. I don't know why I think that it could have been anyone else. But yes, Chris and I have been thinking about if we can do a way exclusive for his Patreon members. Yeah. If we could do a side-by-side build. He's got the Stranger Things set. I have the Stranger Things set. We could both build our Stranger Things sets at the same time if I could figure out a way to merge the feeds together. Yeah, that's one of our special edition CaseyBuilds ideas that we might have in the future here is two simultaneous builds of the same set going on for your watching enjoyment. Oh, that looks like a grabber arm. Yeah, that's a grabber arm. That's neat. Okay, this little grabber arm needs to connect to something. Where's it go? Right around here. There we go. It just kind of goes off like that, I guess. Ready to grab stuff. Okay, once again, it's a 2x, but you see all of these 1x parts, so that means double them yourself. That's what we're going to do. You guys appear to really be cracking Lex up. She's over there laughing off camera right now. Man, Sidewinder, I cannot wait for you to come and visit. That's gonna be that'll be a fun trip. That sounds great to me.
Doesn't he look lovely, June?
I think we've got a lot of potential here for some fun special editions of CaseyBuilds in the future. Once the world is done trying to kill everybody. Gotta have Kevin. Okay, so one of the things that I failed to point out earlier, but something I'm noticing here, is you can see there's this little ball joint here. And that will be clipping into something else. And this is something that they've used a lot, not in Technic sets like you may think, but they have other sets where you're building kind of like posable figures that are large set, not like minifig size, but larger ones. Like this one. Where is it? Like this guy here. So posable figure. Hard to get in the frame. So they use these ball joints frequently in those to have all of the articulating limbs and everything. And it looks like we're about to have those on this set as well. And I'm guessing they're going to go here. And the great thing about them is they actually hold pretty firmly in place. So you don't need to worry about them drooping or losing shape. But you can position them. So for something like this, where presumably we're going to have a couple of arms going off in interesting directions, maybe, those are going to be very useful for that. Like the K2SO set, yes. You guys are having so much fun in chat right now. That's great. Actually, that'd be a lot of fun. Sidewinder, we haven't had you up here. You haven't been in the area enough for us to have taken you to our Star Wars bar yet, have you? Yeah, that set's well, it's certainly a few years old at this point. Might be harder to find. I don't see the copyright on it. So it's a little bit older of a set.
It's not that old though.
It's a few years old.
I bet you can find it on Amazon. What's it called again?
It is set 76105. 76105. Lex is going to see if you can even get that set anymore. It is a pretty cool set. Anyway.
Yeah,
Cool.
you can totally get it on Amazon.
Sidewinder, if you want to, you can pick up that. You can pick up the.
It's $205.
Oh, apparently that Iron Man set is $205 on Amazon right now. So I think this is a case of how bad do you want it. What did they call that? Oh, Jessica. I can't remember what they called it in the movie.
Hulkbuster?
Well, there's the Hulkbuster. Yeah, I mean yes, but they call it a name and I can't remember. Anyway, I can't remember where I was going to go with this, but the taking you over to 7 stars, I think you and Kevin would both be a big hit. So, am I still building 2? I still am building 2. It is a great place. Yeah, I can't remember how much that set was initially. I don't think it was... Actually, maybe 125 is what it was initially. Somewhere around there. I don't remember now. Let's see here. Make sure we have these go the right way. Yeah, that's actually one of the... There's a few different reasons why I try to buy sets right when they come out. And one of them is because once the sets have been retired and Lego stops making them, if you decide you want it after the fact, they are much more expensive after the fact than when they're getting printed. So it's nice to just get them up front when they are the price that they're supposed to be. Okay, so I was wrong. These are going to go in. They're not going to be at weird angles, but because they hold so well, this is a nice way that they were able to make this in a somewhat modular way. So you're building these pieces separately, and then you can connect them. And come on, man, that really is. That's going to hold really well. Come on. There we go. Also, it will give it the ability to turn, which is nice. So those can turn independently. Lego Expert versus Drunk Guy. You know what? Here's an idea for you. What we could do is get 2 sets. Ooh. There's a lot of sets that have, or a lot of things rather, that are available as kind of a small set and then as a large set. And maybe I could do the large set as the Lego Expert, and you could take the smaller one, and then that could be the competition element. Drunk Guy with smaller version of set versus Lego Expert. That could be fun. Okay. Alright, so now we're using a lot of these little grabbers, which I have a feeling this is what's going to be supporting all of our solar paneling. Where are we at? 340. Yeah, 340. I actually, this is longer than I thought it was. I thought we'd be done by 4. We could still be done by 4. We've just been chatting so much. It's been such a social build today. I like that. That makes it more fun for me. So I'm saying there's a chance. Okay, I think we have one step left here. Oh, nope, I was wrong. These are not for the solar panels. These are for these big white flappy panels, which I don't know what those are, but apparently they're part of the space station, so there we go. Big white flappy panels. There we go. And just like that, we have one bag left. Oh, this is going to be finicky. So this set is really going to be an impressive test of my OCD, because there's going to be a lot of these pieces that I don't know if they are intended to line up or not. I'm going to do my best to make them line up, but man, I'm going to do that afterward. I don't need to spend... Oh, I just need to build 8 of these. Okay, well, we're going to set this up here. Out of the way. I'm going to take a sip of water. And we're going to make 8 of these things. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to need to just build a lot of these, and hopefully this part's going to go rather quickly so it doesn't become boring. I will do my best to fly through it. And then these pieces, which I had held up earlier, and which are a completely new piece for me, which does not happen very often. I like that. Incidentally, the end of these pieces, the little hole, it reminds me once again of the... what was I building? When I was building that DO, the droid DO, and I was talking about all of the old pneumatic sets. The hole on this kind of reminds me of those, although the hole does appear to be a little bit larger than the rubber tubing holes that the other ones have. I would still love it if Lego would make some more old school pneumatic Technic sets. You know what could be fun? I wonder if we could actually do a stream of building these. Go over to 7 Stars on a Saturday in the afternoon and stream this from 7 Stars while drinking and building at the bar. That could be a lot of fun. Oh, I think we're working on a great idea here. Yeah, Paul would be on board. Just need to wait for him to open things back up. Oh, I'm starting to grapple with the thought of having to line all of these things up. This is...
You want me to help?
Well, after.
Your fans are watching that.
So you don't need to see me being neurotic.
Then why are they watching?
MD Cordy, all done. You were building your lander, as I recall, which, for anybody who's not familiar, is... See, I organized all of the... Oh, there it is. MD Cordy was just working on this set, which was surprisingly not an idea set. I kind of thought it would be. But he just built the lunar lander.
That was the anniversary of the midnight, wasn't
Yeah. Okay. Alright, so we need 16 of these because we need 8 times the 2 that we're building. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Whew. All right, we're gonna build a lot of solar panels. This is gonna make my brother twitch. This is basically his life. He's worked in the solar industry for years, doing the steel infrastructures that all of the solar panels actually get attached to. So he is no stranger to just piles and piles of solar panels. What am I missing?
they don't have any.
Yeah. All the extra elements are in their own Ziploc bag and not mixed with the rest. Yay! What's the difference between creator and builder set types? These are solar modules, not solar panels. Sorry, I apologize. Am I correct to assume that the individual things are the solar panels, whereas all of the rest of these things are the modules where you put a bunch of panels together? Is that correct? The difference between creator and builder set types. Do we have it? I don't know if there is a builder set type. I don't think that's a series. If it is a series, tell me I'm wrong, please. But yeah, I don't know if there is a builder series. Creator is really the default catch-all that Lego uses for their
Sets that don't fit with other lines.
yeah, more their generic set name with it if it doesn't fall under Technic or Star Wars or Harry Potter or something like that. I don't think, but tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. Love how smart all of you guys are out there right now. Thank you so much for telling me exactly how I'm wrong with certain things. It's very helpful. Thank you. So building all of these modules right now is not exactly exciting, but at least everything is lining up right now, and we're building up to the climactic moment of trying to put them all on the support scaffolding structure here which is going to really be a test for me. I am going to try to embrace the beautiful organic nature of these things and not necessarily try to make it absolutely perfect. We're going to have some flavor, some authentic hand-built flavor. What we're going to do. I am just so thankful that all of these pieces are printed and not stickers, because that would have been less than awesome. Nearly done with the highly repetitive step here. Okay, all of these are meant to... Oh, oops. I think I missed the last step, which was putting these on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need some more support structure, like so. I think that it's entirely possible that Tesla, SpaceX could do a contract with Lego. I think that'd be really cool. When Lego came out with the big Porsche Technic set, I assumed it was simply going to be a one-off and was not expecting much more from that. And then they came out with the Chiron, and now on this coming Monday they're going to come out with Lamborghini. I think it's called a Scion or a Scion, S-I-A-N. So they're making another large-scale Lego car set, Technic set, and I think doing a Tesla like that, it's not exactly the exotic luxury car that the other sets that they've come out with are, but I think that would definitely be a cool set. So far, none of these sets that they've come out with have had built-in power functions, and I think doing a Tesla model would actually be a perfect blend between using motors and give it some authenticity as a Lego Technic set with a car using electric motors. That could be some good synergy with all of that. So fingers crossed. Yeah, that Lambo set looks really good. So yeah, available on Monday, which supposedly was the same day they had announced that there'd be a new Lego Ducati set coming out as well, which I had already had on the calendar to order on Monday. So Monday is a great Lego shopping day. For the gearheads. Thank you, Sidewinder. I knew you wouldn't let us down. Okay, almost done with all of these modules. I'm assuming, I don't know why they didn't have us do it in the first place, but I'm guessing that we're going to snap these onto the the rods on the other end that are currently left open, and then fold the piece down to complete the module, which is actually going to be great news because it's going to lock everything into place and mean that I don't have to manually adjust every finicky little piece. So, small miracles. Do I have set 42,000? Which one is set 42,000? Is that... I don't know which set that is. 42,000. I'm not sure which one that one is. I don't know all of the serial number codes by heart. I'm not sure if I do. Haha, I was right. That's exactly what we're going to do. Can you tell me what the set is? Oh, there's still some finickiness here. Grand Prix. Oh, F1. Is it a Ferrari? Because if so, I think I do. So, does that look like a solar module? I do have a Ferrari F1 set that is on loan, out on loan at the moment. Is the one you're talking about a Ferrari Sidewinder? Well, without stopping here and without looking it up, I'd say it's certainly possible that I do. Bo James, by any chance, do you have that? Okay. Yeah, Bo James is actually the one that has the Ferrari set right now. I couldn't remember what box number it was. Again, without looking it up. Oh, we are almost done with these modules. There have been so many of these things to build. Okay. And everything is perfectly aligned. Sweet. And now we get to get rid of the cookies. There we go. And let's line up all these modules now. This is a cool set. Let's keep the weight distribution even. There we go. And there's all the rest of the little bits. Okay, where do these have to go? So we've got this cute little fella down here. Let's see here. This one needs to be here. Don't know why they had us build that in bag number 1, unless maybe it was just to wet our whistle, get us excited. And this one needs to be down here, like that. And this little guy gets to live over here. There we go. Oh, and the shuttle fits right in there too, which I was not expecting at all, but that's awesome. Oh, how fun. Oh, okay. And, oh, there's only spots for 2 little dudes, so we'll put that on there. And we'll put this one on here. There we go. So we do have an extra little dude. You know what? He's gonna be going on a spacewalk. We're gonna put him up here on top of the space station. What a cool set. Okay. Well, that's complete. Everything is all almost nice and aligned. Switch that over there. There we go. Look at that. Okay, let's get rid of this one for now. Okay, very good. Yeah, the Ferrari set is actually one of the first sets that I had bought as an adult. Actually, no, I didn't buy that one. Or did I? No, I think my dad got that one for me for a present. And that was my first adult Lego set. Anyway, yeah, here we go. So check that out. We got a neat space station. It will easily detach, as I said. We'll just pop. And obviously, because like the space station itself has all these extra things all over the place, there's really no good way that this could possibly sit. So we have the stand that this will sit delicately on. I thought when I was building the lunar lander set, the one that Cordy was building earlier today, I actually thought that set was rather it felt like it would easily break. And this one, even though it is kind of thin and flimsy, it feels a little bit more secure than the lunar lander did to me, which I suppose doesn't really matter one way or the other. But there we go. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, Sidewinder, Mike, the capital K16. He has a BMW motorcycle, K1600 motorcycle. Hence the capitalization there. Oh, very good. Got to keep your mask on. Nice. Anyway, so here we go. We have our space station done, and everything looks pretty well aligned. So I'm not gonna lose any sleep over this tonight. That's great. And it sounds like tomorrow we're gonna go ahead and try to tackle that lighting kit. It's not a large kit, so I don't think we're gonna be building for too long tomorrow. I think it'll be probably a pretty quick build. Might take an hour tops. So don't be late tomorrow. 2:00 tomorrow. We're gonna do that the lighting build. I already bought a USB hub for it. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I've seen it built up at a friend's house who also has a Disney castle that has done the lighting, and it looks really cool at the end. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit gloomier of a day. So once the lighting is all in, I can turn off the lights in the Lego studio and light up the castle and see how good it looks. So that's what we'll aim for. So 2 o'clock tomorrow, we'll light that thing up, and yeah. Until then, thank you all for joining, and hopefully see you all at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Have a good night.